Hello, my name is Bruce Stevenson. I've been a general dentist for 36 years. I have been a perpetual student of practice management and computers in dentistry. I've been lecturing and writing and consulting on these topics since about 1985. My purpose with this little slideshow is to introduce you very briefly to one of the topics in our seminar on practice management. This topic is website utilization and SEO, search engine optimization. Unfortunately, there's not just one thing that you need to do to have a successful dental practice. It's a whole combination of things. That's the purpose of the little puzzle icon up in the upper left-hand corner. Part of the puzzle is your website and your SEO for your website, and that's what I'm going to briefly discuss. Websites play a critical role in new patient acquisition. Probably half your new patients should come from you because of the internet, whether it's your website, Yelp, and so forth, but from the internet. The other half should come from your existing patients, and that's certainly very important, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about using your website to acquire new patients. That is the primary function of your website, and I think sometimes dentists misunderstand this. The website is not just to make you look good to your mother and to your friends. The purpose of the website is to acquire new patients. You want to go where the patients are now. The patients are now on the internet. I'm not saying don't use yellow page advertising. I do say you need to follow your results very carefully and see what kind of return on your investment you're getting with yellow pages versus websites which are virtually free. All the things I'm going to show you today are free and have a very great return on investment. Dentists have some really beautiful signs sometimes. They spend a lot of money on their signs and put them out on the street where people can see them. A lot of times they make a mistake with their website, though. They have a very beautiful website, but they put it in an alley. If you had a really beautiful office sign, why would you put it back in the alley where nobody can see it? Well, that's what most dentists, or at least an awful lot of dentists, do with their websites. They hide them where no one can see them. A website that no one sees will not bring you any new patients. What you need is search engine optimization, SEO. Now, there's a lot of people out there who want to charge you a whole lot of money to do your SEO for you. What I'm going to show you is how you can do it, or at least understand it, all by yourself for free. You want Google love. All right, let's see how you're going to get that. Here is my website. As you can see, I'm at the top of the organic searches. The only ads above mine are the paid ads. So my ad is at the top of the organic searches on page 1 if you search for Invisalign in San Leandro, which is the community in which I practice. That costs me $0. Okay, and I'm going to show you how you can get on page 1, hopefully to the top of page 1, without spending any money. Dentists throw money at this problem, and it doesn't work. If you look a little closer and scroll down, you'll see that I'm not only at the top of page 1, I have 4 of the 4 top ratings. Those are all me. Some of those are a different website, but those are all me. How difficult is it? Not that hard. 3 things you need for search engine optimization for your website. I'm going to talk about all 3 of these things: meta tags, content, and inbound links. Now, dentists may have heard about content and content being king, but dentists generally don't know about meta tags and have not been told about them by their website people. They're putting you at a very big disadvantage because these are very powerful. All right, what are they? The three kinds of meta tags. The first is a meta title. It's probably the most important. This is what shows in the blue bar at the top of your browser when your website's on the screen. It's also used by Google, although people will dispute this, but it seems to be used by Google for your searches. This is very important real estate. You only have 60 characters, and that includes your spaces, for your meta title. So you should never ever have something that says welcome or home or title. I see this all the time in websites done by reputable people, well, supposedly reputable people, but they have not set up the meta tags correctly because it then said, oh, I don't want to pay for SEO. That costs extra. Well, you can do it yourself. You don't have to pay for it. So as it says, as nearly as I can tell, this is probably the most critical thing for your website. I'm going to show you how to do it. Next thing is a meta description. This is the second most important meta title. Meta tag. You get about 150 characters, so you get over twice the number of characters you got with your title. And you want to describe your site here in English. I'll show you what this means in a minute. But this shows up in your Google searches after your name. So you want to make this fairly compelling. Google also searches meta descriptions. So you want to make it attractive to Google, but you also want to make it attractive to patients. The last meta tag are meta keywords. There's a lot of dispute about this as to whether or not these things really help you. Apparently, Google does not use meta keywords any longer, but Bing, for instance, still does. There is no disadvantage to using meta keywords. And because you get so many characters, 874 characters here, keep in mind the characters include spaces, that, what the heck, why not do it? It's not critically important, but there's no disadvantage. Another thing to keep in mind is that each page of your website is searchable all by itself. That's why I had 4 of the top 4 searches in Google, because I have different pages there, and each one is independently searchable by Google. Yes, your top page, your home page, is the most important, but these others are also important. Let's go back and look at my website in the Google searches. The one at the top, you notice it says underneath my name, which is the name of the website. Not necessarily the best name for a website, by the way. It says save $1,000 on Invisalign, blah, blah, blah. That is the meta description. That shows up in your Google searches. That's why that is very important and needs to be compelling for people to read. There's my website. Let me show you the little secret so you can look at my website or any other website and see the magic of these meta tags. If you right mouse click, then you get the screen over on the left, pops up, go to View Source, and now you can see the HTML code for that website. Oh goody, just what you wanted to look at, a bunch of HTML code. Well, here's why it's important. Up towards the top of the page, and I've highlighted it in yellow, you can see the title. Okay, here's the title. This is the meta title. Here's the meta description, and here are the meta keywords. So you can look on my site, remember I only got 60 of them, and you can see the words that I have chosen for Google to search for my website. Now, this is not the only thing that Google searches for, but this is one of the things. And here's my meta description, and here are my meta keywords. So if you want to come to San Leandro and try and beat my website on Google, you can look to see how I did it, or anybody else did it in any area, and you can say, oh, that's a pretty good, I understand why he chose that meta title, and so I'm going to choose either exactly the same one, you might want to take my name out of it, the same one or a very similar one for your website. So we talked about the meta tags, the meta title, the meta description, and the meta keywords. Those are very important, particularly for dental websites. And I say dental websites because as a general rule, dental websites don't have a lot of competition. It's really not very difficult to get onto page 1 of Google. All right, so we know about the meta tags now. Now let's talk about content. And for many years, and it probably still is true, content was said to be king. Okay, what you put in your website as far as what you write is very, very important. Whether it's the most important these days, and particularly for dental websites, I don't know. But it's certainly one of the 3 things: your meta tags, your content, and your inbound links. So what do you do to make your content compelling? Well, the first thing that you don't do is have duplicate content. What's duplicate content? That's content that somebody has used on other websites besides your own. You need unique content for your website. Every single page on your website needs to be written by you or for you specifically, and not for somebody else. A lot of dentists make the mistake of saving money by using canned websites. They say, okay, we got a template that we'll sell you. We'll put your name at the top of the website, and the rest of the website just looks like 100 other dental websites out there, and they can sell them real cheap because they only wrote the content once. And this goes for videos as well, by the way. You want unique content on your website. Now that means either you have to write it or you have to pay somebody to write it. But the person who writes it needs to be aware of how the content is looked at, not just by the people that read it. Yes, that's the most important thing, your patients that come to the website, but also how Google reads it. Your content needs to share some of the key words that you used in your meta title and your meta description and your meta keywords. But you're not going to do what's called keyword packing, where in my case, I would just say Invisalign, we do a lot of Invisalign, we like Invisalign, blah, blah, blah. Google recognizes that. And if you use the same words too many times, Google will penalize you. So what you want is unique, well-written, lucid content that supports your meta title and meta descriptions and supports what you're trying to say about your dental office. What makes your dental office unique? That should be, I think, reflected in your meta tags and in your content. Okay, the third thing, we're talking about search engine optimization, are inbound links. What's an inbound link? That's a link that comes from another website, hopefully a website that has a higher page ranking than your website does. For instance, Google+, which is kind of like Yelp, has a very high page ranking with Google, as you might expect. So does Yelp. So does Delta Dental. All these people have high page rankings, and you would like them to link to your site, to have an inbound link to your site. For instance, with Delta Dental, when you sign up, they ask for some business information, your name and address and so forth, and there's a place to put your website in there. You definitely want to do that. The problem with dental societies and some other organizations, including the American Dental Association, is that those inbound links really don't count with Google. And it's too bad, and that's really the choice of the American Dental Association and often of local dental societies. And I think that's really a mistake, because that would help the member dentists a lot. So the more inbound links that you can get, the better. However, you do not want to go to what are called link farms. These are people where you throw money at them, and they will link all sorts of miscellaneous websites to your site. You get a lot of inbound links, but Google recognizes that you got these from a link farm and penalizes you. Google is watching you all the time. Google is Big Brother. So just go along with what Google wants you to do. All right, we talked about search engine optimization here. We talked about meta tags and how important those are. Those are free. We talked about the content. You know, that can be free, or perhaps you're going to have to pay somebody to write that for you, but the bottom line there absolutely is it must be unique to your site. Do not use canned content. And then the last things, which are also free, are your inbound links. So everything we've talked about is relatively easy to do. Your website person should not charge you very much money for this, if anything, and is extremely important for getting your website where people can see it. Get your website out of the alley and onto the internet. Here's a little checklist that you can use with your website person. I've talked about most of these, but not all of these things. You want to come to the seminar, we talk about every one of them. Here is the agenda for the whole seminar. I think that I talk a whole lot more about SEO and websites and using websites and so forth. I think probably the most important new concept for most dentists and practice management are the use of checklists for practice management. And I go into this rather extensively because we've had extremely good success using that. I talk a little bit about paperless dentistry, that's down on number 8, but I've given whole seminars on paperless dentistry, and this is just kind of an overview. But I basically talk about every aspect of modern practice management. We've finally arrived at the last slide. I hope to see you at a seminar in the future. You can see down at the bottom a link to the website which has more information about the seminars. The seminars for me are a lot of fun, and that's why I do them. And I hope they're fun for the people that attend, but I also hope that they're very useful for the people that attend, and helping them kind of put all the little pieces of the practice management puzzle together. So again, hope to see you at a seminar.